Hello, I'm Victor Hogstrom. Kansas has long been a breeding ground for great talent of all kinds. On this edition of One-on-One, we welcome a Wichita native who has received great acclaim around the world for his marvelous vocal performances. His name, JR Fralick. He is a scholar, a teacher, and, according to some, one of the great tenor soloists of our time. He may not be a household name, but his music speaks a universal language that is sure to enchant you. Join me now for a half hour with acclaimed tenor and Wichita native, Dr. JR Fralick, One-on-One. Hello and thank you for joining us. I'm Victor Hogstrom, and I'm delighted to welcome the great tenor, Dr. JR Fralick, to the program, and he will be performing for us later on this program. It's a pleasure to have you, Doctor.
Thank you, Victor. It's great to be here.
You are originally from Wichita.
Yes.
Tell us about who you are from Wichita, your background, your growing up days.
I grew up on the west side. I went to high school at Northwest back when it first opened. And for my undergraduate degree, I went to Friends University. So I spent quite a while in Wichita when I was young. After that, I graduated and moved to Manhattan, Kansas, and got a master's at Kansas State University.
And after that?
After that, I moved to Columbus, Ohio, and got a doctorate in voice at The Ohio State University.
Okay. That's a great school.
It is. I liked it.
Your parents, who are they?
Larry and Anna, they both still live here in Wichita. That's why I'm here now, is to visit my parents from Cleveland. And I haven't seen them in a while, so it was really nice to come back and visit.
Now, you are an acclaimed classical music professor and a professor of music at Baldwin Wallace University in the Cleveland, Ohio area.
Yes.
You grew up in Wichita, as we've just established. Tell us about your early days and what fueled this passion for classical music.
Yes, that's a good question. My mother was a pianist. Both of my parents sang in the choir at church. And I remember they had a set of LPs, highlights of different composers, and I liked listening to that. And that was probably my introduction. And so I would listen to Brahms, Beethoven, Bach, Chopin. And I have to say that's probably the first inkling I had that I really liked that, even though I loved pop music, you know. In high school, we sang a lot of classical music. I enjoyed that. I was playing in orchestra and played in band as well. And of course, that informed me as I decided what I was going to do in college. And I decided I wanted to be a music teacher.
And not a performer?
Not really a performer early on, no. In fact, I felt a little awkward about it. I liked the teaching part.
Right. You teach and you perform.
Right.
So how did you get into performance?
Yes.
And you still teach. You love teaching,
right.
as I understand it.
Yeah. Teaching was always my first passion. As I went through school, especially at Ohio State, my doctorate, I started singing more, and I think I just took myself more seriously as a singer, and that makes a big difference. Had a great teacher, and at first, I really loved opera, and so for about 10 years, I sang a lot of opera, and that sort of got me started. And then...
And this was while teaching?
Yes, okay. Even while I was teaching, which is difficult. And operatic performance takes a lot more extra time, and that was a huge challenge. So if I didn't do it in the summers, you know, I was doing it during the academic year, and that was probably too much to do for a while. But I enjoyed those summers, and I found a lot of work during summer break and got to perform a lot.
So what are some of the highlights of your performing career?
Yeah, I'd say during that operatic period, I loved La Traviata. I sang that. I was Alfredo and Boulder. It was called Colorado Lyric Opera. And I also, probably my other favorite role was Don Ottavio in Don Giovanni by Mozart. And I sang both of those roles quite a few times. Don Ottavio, I think, is dramatically rather boring, but musically it's beautiful. So I have to say I enjoyed it. I made the most of the character as I could, but the singing was, pure joy. I remember one time my review said he sang like a Mozartian dream, which became quite a joke after a while. I would be introduced as the Mozartian dream, but that's probably my favorite operatic role.
And you are a tenor.
Yes.
What does it take to maintain that voice?
That's a very good question. I think understanding how the voice operates, we have to know our instrument. It's just like anything else. I don't believe in the magical, mystical wonderment of singing. I think it's just like any other machine. If you learn how to operate it and maintain it, it'll serve you well. And over time, I think we all start, every machine gets a little older, but I've been fortunate. I think I still sing with ease, and it's still a lot of fun, and I'll keep going until I can't do it anymore.
So you're talking about understanding the voice. Is that what you call the vocology?
Yes.
Of
Right. Vocology, it's fairly new. It's been around for about 20 years. It is the scientific study of the voice, how the voice operates. In the world of vocology, they talk about habilitation instead of rehabilitation, but habilitation is really a huge umbrella, teaching, creating habits that are good for the voice, etc. I did it through 2 summers with the National Center for Voice, led by Ingo Tietze, who's a famous physics professor who studies acoustics and how the voice works. We learned everything from anatomy to acoustic measures to helping maintain and as well as help the damaged voice. And I use that, of course, in my teaching because, again, I want to teach my students how to learn their voice, how to maintain it, how to use it healthily, and how to keep it going.
There are so many performers, singers specifically, whose voices get damaged. How do you go about repairing that? What's the best solution or cure to it?
Sometimes we get into habits that may or may not be beneficial overall. Things that work but may not be the most efficient production, etc. And that's what I've learned over time is sometimes that's the real basis, or over singing. But I think the real root of issues that we have with our voice over time have to do with too much perseverance. If you're sick, you have to let it heal. If you're tired, you have to rest. I think that's where most vocal injury comes from, is just doing too much when the voice needs to rest.
But you enjoyed teaching most of all in your career. Why?
I like to help the students. I think there's they have a spark. They love something about performing, but they may not understand everything that goes with it. And I think teaching them about their voice, how to use it, how to get the voice to serve you and your needs, and how to establish or define what success is for every singer is really exciting. It's not a one-size-fits-all.
Which is more challenging, the singing or the teaching?
The teaching, yes, because every student's a little different. For me, I'm not saying singing is easy, but it is a set. I've done that enough that for me it's a little bit more natural. The challenge with the singing is trying to help students understand how a vocal performance degree can become useful and how to define what they want to do with it.
Right.
Not everybody sings at the Metropolitan Opera, but that doesn't define success for everyone. I don't sing there, but I am absolutely thrilled with performing in my own way, and so I feel very successful and fortunate for those opportunities.
And you've traveled the world, some 35 countries.
Yes.
Performing.
Yes, I think part of growing up in a small little world, and I'm not saying Wichita was that small, but I'm just in my own mind, I was really looking forward to getting to different countries and things like that. So once I started traveling, I took every opportunity I could to. So I've been to a lot of places. I would say most of them have to do with performing, invitations to perform, with like the Jerusalem Symphony. I made a recording in Moscow, Russia. I recently went to South Africa to sing with a group called Music Inspire Africa. Not a top-notch, this was a low-key kind of group that was interested in performing Messiah at different venues so that lots of people could hear. Went to Italy to sing, and then if I didn't go there because I was performing, I probably made the trip because I was doing something with vocology or presenting at a conference, but it's been wonderful.
Now we have a video clip to show, as I promised, that JR will be performing on this program, and so can you explain what is it that we're going to see and hear?
Yes, this is Rachmaninoff's Spring Waters, or Vesienyi Vody, with my friend Christine at the piano. And it's all about Russian winters are tough, and when the snow starts melting and you hear the water running, that means spring is coming. And so the song is all about the spring is here.
All right, so let's watch. JR, that is simply marvelous.
Thank you.
How much of that is natural talent and how much is training?
in my opinion, the natural talent part is the quality of the voice and the sound of the voice, and the connection to the text and the music. That's sort of the spiritual side. That's what I consider the natural talent part. The actual singing, the elocution of the text, the use of the body to make the sound, that is trained.
How challenging is it to teach someone to sing in the operatic style?
Many students don't know it at the age of 18. They don't really know what's going to happen with the voice. I believe we're all built for something, and if you line it up perfectly,
singing?
Yes.
You mean I could sing?
You never know. I think of Michael Phelps. I saw a special on how he's the perfect swimmer.
Right.
I believe the same thing with voices. Some voices are perfect for pop singing, some are good for opera. It's hard to tell at 18 because for operatic pipes, it takes some maturity and some experience and growth. So we usually train them in everything, but just healthy technique and a good start. And you see where the voice is going to go. And I feel like you have to follow what the voice is going to do instead of trying to push it into something that won't fit.
Right.
I never danced ballet. And there's a reason for that. But I have a voice that works well for opera and classic music.
Right. Okay, we have a second piece that we'd like to share with our audience. So let's watch that second one. Wow. JR, you were acting and singing. What a performance.
Thank you. As you could tell, that was a little lighthearted video. I guess that's my ballet dream come true.
Well, it was beautifully done.
Thanks. It was fun. It was for my students.
Okay. We have a game we like to play on this program, and I'd like to play it with you before our time runs out.
Okay.
So, tell me your favorite, all right? First, your favorite song.
Oh, my favorite song. Probably Erists by Schumann. It's all about spring again and full of hope.
All right. Your favorite musical movie.
Musical movie. Ooh. I love The King and I. I think it's beautiful.
Your favorite musical instrument.
Piano. It has so many possibilities for sounds.
Did you take piano lessons too?
Yes, but I am not any good at piano. I admire pianists.
Your favorite way to celebrate.
I enjoy hosting parties. sometimes.
A party animal, huh?
Right. Either something fancy with a dinner, or just hors d'oeuvres, etc., and have the house open.
Your favorite kind of person?
Somebody who has to be pretty genuine, I have to say. That's one thing I like about growing up in Kansas. You can tell people who come from the Midwest. They're always themselves.
Compare that to the people from the East or other parts of the country.
I don't know exactly if I could compare them, but one of my best friends on faculty, we found out, had lived in Kansas for a while, from the Midwest. And I guess there's just something, people are very genuine. They're not afraid of just being who they are. They're helpful. Sometimes
Okay.
you don't get that outside of here.
All right. Your favorite way to spend a weekend?
It would probably be traveling somewhere. Get to hike around, maybe have some quiet time reading a book, check out the restaurants.
Favorite places to travel or place to travel?
Oh, that's a tough one, especially anywhere in Italy, I would imagine. It's just, no matter where you go in Italy, you find something new that's pretty amazing.
How are college students of today, how are college students of today the same as you and I were at the same age that they are today?
They're eager, they're inquisitive, they're green. I know I had to learn a lot, but I see a lot of that, and it's wonderful. It's refreshing, because I believe we were the same way when we started school. Wanted to learn. When I ask my incoming freshmen, what are you looking forward to? And they always say, I want to be somewhere where everybody else loves music and is passionate about music.
Has technology made a difference in today's learning?
Yes, especially during COVID, a lot of Zoom teaching. But we've had a lot of opportunities to use video, online sources. Students can audition now through video. They don't have to fly to New York or fly somewhere to present a live audition. Even in performances, they will project translations in English without having to read them.
JR, what goal or dream do you have that you still hope to realize?
I want to go to Antarctica.
Oh, to do what?
Just to see it, hike around, ride on the ship. And I would love to sing Messiah with Wichita Symphony Orchestra.
Oh,
That's been a long time goal.
They may be watching, you never know.
I know, it's not impossible.
No.
And,
What's your biggest challenge you've had in life?
in life, I think, especially as a performer, figuring out, as I've mentioned a little bit before, how to define myself as a performer. I went to school with people who sing at the Met, but I never saw myself doing that. That wasn't my joy. But when I finally decided what I liked doing and it clicked, then ever since then, performing has been 10 times more rewarding. Sometimes it's a job, sometimes it fulfills you. And I've enjoyed it a lot more in the last 20 years or so, because I'm doing it my way, or on my own terms. I love that.
What about biggest mistake?
That has to do with preparation. And I think every musician learns it at one point or another. You think you're ready, and then you show up and you're not. It taught me a new respect for preparation. I try to instill that in my students. You want to be ready, and we underestimate that sometimes. The analogy people use is, you'll see that iceberg, that's the performance, and all the rest of the iceberg underwater is the preparation. And that's the biggest mistake we make. But usually we try to just make that once.
What about the vision that you have for music and your career?
I'm very happy with where I'm at. I want to continue doing it for as long as I can. That sounds very simple, but it wasn't an easy journey.
Right.
I came back to Friends University, my undergraduate, and gave a recital and a master class a couple of years ago, and that was really fulfilling. I connected with an old friend who teaches on the faculty. I went back to perform at my alma mater. Those are the kinds of things I see in my last 10 years, is really reconnecting with friends in the business and performing with them and collaborating with them. It's really wonderful.
Dr. JR Fralick, it's been a pleasure talking to you one-on-one. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Victor.
And thank you for watching this edition of One-on-One. Our email address is oneonone@kpts.org. That's if you have a question or comment. Until next time, I'm Victor Hogstrom. Take care, and I'll see you again soon.